Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Lovers of Lore.
Hello.
My name is Arri.
And also welcome. My name is Michael.
And also welcome.
And welcome to the first episode.
Yeah, this is episode 1.
The inaugural episode.
Inaugural.
Inaugural.
Yes. The very beginning.
The very good place to start.
Inception, right?
It's a very good place to start, so they say.
Can you say Inception? Since it's Inception, can you say Inception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
The Inception.
Just because there's a movie doesn't mean they now own the word.
No. That's not what I meant. I meant because I was saying like Inception is in, since it's Inception is how I would use that. I was using the word in a sentence.
To
be like, that works, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's good.
Here we are.
If it's not, someone will tell us, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out. You can tell by the title of this episode that we are beginning with a very big fan favorite show, Arcane.
Hot topic right now.
Which we should say, like, right off the bat, we're not, like, League of Legends
We're not in the
players.
know. We're out of the know.
We are just lovers of lore. And we love the Arcane lore. We do have some very good friends. Michael's friend that he's grown up with.
My best friend, I would say. He's a big lol head.
Lol.
He knows all the people, all the things.
That's our...
I'm sure he'll have some thoughts about what we say.
Lol is lovers of lore. That's ours as well.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a lol head and a lol head if he knows what's good for him. Okay.
Yeah, if he wants to keep this friendship alive.
He can give us all the insider information as well.
Yeah. Kieran, tell us in the comments all the things that we miss, because he will.
Yeah.
He's a cinephile too, so he knows. He knows all the stuff everyone misses. But obviously we've watched Arcane together as a couple, just on our own.
We watched it. We watched episode 1 a long time ago. Well, not that long, but a few years ago when it first came out.
Yeah.
And we liked it.
Yeah, liked it, but didn't keep watching it because we were watching other shows at the same time.
Yeah.
But then when season 2 came out, we were like, we have to commit to this because we just know this type of show is like right
everything
up our alley.
about season 2 looked so cool.
Yeah.
But we were like, okay, we can't start with season 2.
Yeah, got to go back to the beginning. We will be recording reactions to this that will be released on our Patreon, so you can watch those there. We don't know exactly how this is going to work yet, but because we both sing, and Michael is a very talented musician, we think we're going to try and release some Arcane covers. We're going to mix in some Arcane covers, and that will be on our personal YouTube page.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure to include some links to that in the description of this episode. But as for the reactions, obviously it will not be a first time reaction, but we were saying, because we've recorded some of the reactions already, and we were saying that we kind of feel like it's fun in a different way doing that, because we're
it's
noticing
a rewatch and we're paying more closer attention
and noticing so many things that we like. I have said so many times, I don't remember this. I do not remember.
And we have
this.
the subtitles on, so we're seeing all sorts of things we missed the first time.
Because we binged both 1 and 2, didn't we? Because we surpassed Kieran and
we
his
binged
partner,
to the point
Amy.
where we caught up and got past the people who had recommended the show to us.
Yeah.
That's how much it hooked us.
Yeah.
And that's, that's how you know
it's so good. It's
good.
Such a good show. I really do understand why so many people are obsessed with the show, because it just has everything, which, like, I won't get into that right now, but there are so many different things that this series has done that I just feel like it is going to be in, like, the history of, like, TV shows and stuff like that. Arcane is going to be referenced so many times as, like, a groundbreaking series for, like, multiple reasons.
High praise indeed.
I'm serious. I really think it will. I feel like there's already some ways, just with, like, the animation style is so unique. That alone, like, people are going to reference that for years to come.
I see that. I don't know enough about animation, but I think that's right.
Before we get into Arcane, is there like a specific lore-esque show that you remember, or lore-filled content?
Lore-filled content.
Yeah, high fantasy, intense world building, anything like that you were really into that you feel like kind of set you off on your journey?
Well, I mean, honestly, high fantasy would be Game of Thrones when I saw the show, but I was like already 16. So before when I was younger, there was a book series called Darren Shan, which is a very emo vampire book series. Almost like
never heard of that.
The male Twilight, I guess.
Okay.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It's about a boy who becomes a vampire and then a vampire prince by accident.
By accident.
Because he's the main character. So
yes, that's always how it happens.
Things have to happen to him.
Exactly.
But then there's a civil war between vampires and they're like the evil are vampires who are called vampanese. And it's and he has like an evil him who's lived his life but became a vampanese instead called Steve.
Like a dark twin or something?
No, it's
evil
not
twin?
actually him. It's just like a character who's similar to him but became evil. Oh. I think his name is Steve, which is really funny.
Steve.
Evil main
Perfect villain name. We love it. We love an evil
I'm pretty sure
Steve.
it's Steve.
The big baddie Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but it became a film that was fine.
Oh.
John C. Reilly played the vampire,
I've literally never heard
master.
of this. Like not even once.
It's pretty good. I don't know how much it would hold up because I was like 11 when I was reading it and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It'd be so cool if I had to leave my family and become a vampire and never see my friends. It would be so cool if I could
leave my family.
No, but that's the thing. Like, you're like, oh, it's so cool. Yeah, he has to give up his whole life and everyone thinks he's dead. Oh, that's so cool. No, it's so... Ooh.
Yeah.
The things that seem cool in young adult
books,
literature,
novels. Yeah, of course.
You don't actually want to happen to you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you do, but
very true.
Right, but what about you? What's your lore first?
Well, I feel like first off, I have to mention, if you're familiar with Ampliverse content, me and my friend Adam do a podcast called Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials. So I feel like I have to give Harry Potter a shout out because
How do I not know this?
You watch it while you're working in the background. Don't try and fool me.
I get insider access. I hear what it's going to be about before anyone else does.
He hears the hour-long catch-up session that Adam and I do before every episode. Pretty much
I'm
every
downstairs
time.
making dinner. Dinner's getting cold. And I'm like, hey, oh no, they're not even halfway through the chapter
That
yet.
is probably actually very true.
It's great.
But yeah, so Harry Potter, obviously. But the main one that was like life-changing for me was Sailor Moon. I was obsessed with Sailor Moon as a child. That was the first show that I remember just becoming so fully immersed in. Obviously, I watched the version that was on Toonami. So like the translation probably was not correct in any way. They all gave them like English names, which they shouldn't have. And Sailor Moon is one that like, when I go back to watch it now, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, there are some parts that like don't hold up very well. But it still is nostalgic for me because I love Sailor Moon. So there's like that factor.
Which one are you? There are different ones, right?
Well, okay, so when
I don't know much about Sailor Moon.
Yes. So I always wanted to be Sailor Moon, like the titular role.
Naturally.
But because I watched it on Toonami, she was Serena. She wasn't Usagi. So it was Serena to me. So I wanted to be Serena.
Aww.
Yeah, Serena. And then like Tuxedo Mask was Darian. That's how she'd always say it.
Darian.
But y'all know, the 90s kids know that was like, that's our version that we recall. I think there's a rumor that they're trying to come out with a version of that is more similar to what we remember, but they like the things that they changed that like they shouldn't have changed. Like obviously the two characters that were lesbians that they made cousins. They made them cousins.
Just because
let them be lesbians.
Just because words both end with "-ns" doesn't mean they're interchangeable. Narratively,
I just was crazy.
Or socially.
Yeah, I was like, what? Just let them be a couple. So that was wild. I think they would be.
That's so much worse than what they did to Pokemon when they made. They made sushi donuts.
Oh, Pokemon!
Which is a good one.
Oh yeah, Pokemon, of course.
And it's like weird cousin Digimon.
Yeah. But then yes, Digimon. Loved Digimon as well. So shows like that. And then like as I got older, obviously like Lord of the Rings was a huge one. I loved Eowyn. I still love Eowyn to this day. And then more like recently in terms of a book series, yes, I am a Sarah J. Maas fan. I love Sarah J. Maas. Specifically Throne of Glass is such an incredible series. I love Court of Thorns and Roses as well, but Throne of Glass is such a good example of like world building and how she just keeps introducing new characters in such a good way. So I think just the world building of that book in particular is just like, oh, I love going back and reading that book series again. But pretty much just anything with that vibe, that has always been my vibe. Like I love any type of like really intense, high concept, high fantasy.
Shadow and Bone as well.
Oh yeah, Shadow and Bone I loved, which also got canceled way sooner than it should. We loved Willow, which also got canceled after one season.
Yeah.
So we're happy that Arcane was able to do their season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
Well, I think we should probably get into Arcane now,
shouldn't
we? We got to get right into it. That's why you're here.
Now.
Yeah.
We don't know them, but
you know a little bit of our history. Feel free to tell us in the comments what was your like pivotal lore show? What was the lore that you became so invested in? That's why I said lore.
Like
just any type of,
I guess, any
type of like, musicals. Yeah.
There's lore for everything these days.
They made a Lord of the Rings musical. But it was just so expensive, apparently. Yeah. They just like couldn't keep it.
I was in a show with someone who was in that. But
really?
Then it closed because it obviously was just outrageously
just so expensive, wasn't it? Yeah. Which I was like, no. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that's where it would go.
Sad times.
Well, anyways, back to Arcane.
Arcane.
Yes. We're in Piltover/Zon. So episode 1, which is entitled Welcome to the Playground, opens with the bridge just being like complete and utter destruction. It's clear that there has been like some type of battle.
There's been
like a riot.
Definitely
it's like,
has that.
Yeah.
vibe.
But like clearly people have been fighting because there's like a lot of dead bodies.
Yes.
And then we are seeing these scenes with a child's voice singing over the screams, the explosions, like just all the sounds of this like awful carnage.
Yeah, the juxtaposition is like
very
stark.
So it's so funny when I was writing my notes, instead of enforcer, I kept calling them peacekeepers, which is like from the Hunger Games, which is another series that I love.
They're like,
but they have that same vibe.
Faceless,
just like
enforcing
cop vibes,
like,
ACAB,
police
like,
officers, but of that universe, like everything has them. Yeah,
it's like just that type of vibe. But they're later on. Vander, I believe, says enforcers, so I was like, oh, okay, it's enforcers. We see an enforcer with the like sketched, scary faces that we later learn that we like associate with Jinx,
with her and her. What was the episodes?
Oh wait, say that again.
When she has like, when she's like,
when she's struggling, she feels conflicted about things that have happened in her past.
She's having some intense experiences.
Yes. So there's a song being sung by a child as we're like seeing this. And then we realize that the child that is singing this is young Powder. And I noticed the last line that child Powder sings is, so come across the river and find ... And then she takes her hand down because she's covering her eyes. Vi is leading her. She takes her hand down and looks up at Vi because Vi has stopped walking for some reason. And then we see that Vi is just taking in like this very upsetting and like sad sight. And then Powder also literally like gasps because she realizes like what they're standing in. So Powder is obviously very shocked as well, but I think they intentionally made it that like Powder is very young, so there's only so much that she can really understand. But like that still, as we know, like trauma obviously impacts you when you're very young and in very intense ways. So it still is obviously going to have an impact on her, but she can't process it in the same way that Vi can because Vi is like the older sibling. So Vi is just looking around like in shock and obviously like is very devastated by this. Then they see Vander, even though they don't know it's him at first because they're like kind of afraid until they see his face. But then as soon as they see his face, there's this moment that is just like heartbreaking where Vi, and we talked about this in our reaction. Vi recognizes Vander, then is like, oh, well, he's here. My parents must be here, only for Vander to indicate that like they're like lying dead, like several feet away from the kids. And so then Vi, again, like older, more able to process what's actually happening, completely breaks down. We see this moment where Powder kind of looks to like sees her parents and looks immediately to see what Vi's reaction is going to be, which also was like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We should say our dog is, we have 2 dogs that will probably at some point make an appearance, Kiki and Gigi. And Kiki is sitting here. Do you know we're getting emotional talking about Arcane?
Kiki loves Vi and Powder.
Gigi does not care. Can you take a picture of Gigi? I'll add this photo of Gigi in to the video.
All right.
So yeah, if you hear like little pitter patters, it's just our dogs living their life.
The pitter patter of tiny feet.
It's just them saying hello.
Tiny muddy feet.
Yeah, not muddy right now, but usually very muddy. Vi just like completely breaks down. There is the most precious moment ever where little Powder gives her older sister Vi a hug. Like she like falls to the ground and then Powder just like hugs her, and it was so cute.
It was really sweet.
Oh my gosh. Little Powder is just like the cutest thing ever. I was like, they knew what they were doing.
Oh,
they knew what they were doing with that
voicing,
character design.
Yeah. I think it's the voice as well.
The voice, her big eyes,
so
like
expressive and emotional.
And I kept like looking at Baby Powder when they go to the shots of just her when she's like holding Vi's hand. Mm-hmm. She has like streaks from like tear marks down her face through like the dirt and like dust that's on her skin. So Vander is like very clearly moved by this, and he ends up like throwing down like I said like his fisticuffs.
His fisticuffs. I don't know, power gauntlets or something.
Yeah, like his gauntlet. Yeah, power gauntlets.
I'm sorry, Kieran.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Tell me what they are.
Yeah, Kieran.
Drop it in the
comments.
Tell
us in the comments.
His fist weapons.
Yes, yeah.
His fisting apparatus.
And yeah, whatever those are. And then he carries the girls off the bridge and back into Zon. Kiki really wants to get in your lap.
Come on.
Are you gonna get up? Yeah. Be careful. Don't bump the mic.
Don't bump the mic. Don't bump the mic.
First appearance.
First appearance. Here we go. Good girl.
Oh no, Gigi, are you gonna come too now? Gigi's coming too.
Gigi can get in your lap.
Gigi.
She's not gonna fit in mine.
Yeah.
Okay,
do you want to get up,
bump
Gigi?
the mic.
Gigi, do you want to come up? Okay. And this is Gigi.
We have Kiki and Gigi.
Kiki and Gigi are here. They have arrived. Okay. Are you gonna stay here, or are you gonna?
Good girl.
We'll see.
He's thrown down.
Yes.
He's thrown down his fist weapons.
That's the mic. Hello. Oh God.
And they hit the ground with a decisive thud, symbolically representing his I'm not gonna do it anymore.
He's giving it up.
No more violence.
He doesn't want to be a part of the
Vander.
violence anymore. He's like, I'm giving it up.
Victory, or not victory, but V for pacifist.
He's
become a pacifist is what I'm trying to say.
So basically, as he's carrying away the girls, we see Violet looking over his shoulder back at the enforcers. In their masks, we again faceless, we can't like see them. And it's just so clear that she already like hates them. She already just has so much thank you, Gigi. She already has just so much hate for them. And then it's the intro. Then we get our intro, the intro music, the intro theme. It comes in, iconic. So then we have like a time jump. It's several years later. We don't know exactly how many years later this is. But we pick back up with Vi, Powder, and 2 boys that we're introduced to.
2
called
lads.
Milo and Clagger.
I
did check to see if they like gave an actual like however many years later. They don't. It's just like we just have a time jump. So they're basically like up on this roof. We find out that they're gonna go do this heist. They're in Piltover, which is like obviously the city across the river. And there's like this blimp blimp-like sky ship that passes over, and Powder's like, one day I'm gonna ride on one of those things.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's not a blimp, right? There's a whole bit about this.
I know, but I couldn't remember what. Caitlin says something, but I couldn't remember.
It's an airship, not a blimp.
Yeah, an airship. Okay.
Because it's got a rigid metal structure. I guess we don't know if this one has a rigid metal structure.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Blimp-like airship.
It's not. I don't care. Blimp airship, like.
Caitlin would have come for me.
Caitlin would come for me if she heard me saying that.
So the airship passes over, and then Powder's like, one day I'm going to ride in one of those. So we shortly find out, obviously, they're pulling this heist in one of the like wealthier apartments in the city. Vi and the boys don't have like any issues like jumping off the roofs and stuff like that. They're flying. Powder, on the other hand, obviously is like smaller and younger than them. So she's a little bit intimidated. It is a little bit harder for her. But Vi is there to catch her when she does end up like making it to the roof.
Further for her.
Yeah, of course.
She's like half their height.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's clear that Powder is like a little out of her depth, but Vi is like encouraging her the whole way. She's like, you're ready. You can do this. You know, she's being a really good, supportive big sister.
Yeah.
So there's like a little back and forth with Vi and the boys, and like they mention Vander, and they're just like mentioning how like he's gonna kill them, and Vi's like, not if he like, oh, he's only gonna kill us if he finds out, blah blah blah. So she's like, let's like do it right, and then we won't get in trouble. So once they're on the balcony of this like very wealthy apartment, it becomes clear that Milo is the lockpick of the group. That is his special skill. I don't think we find out what Clagger's skill is in this episode, really.
Not really yet, but you can kind of infer it from his name, right? Kind of sounds like a mechanic-y type guy.
Oh, sure. And he's got like the goggles on and stuff.
He reminds me of Badger from Breaking Bad. Jesse's friend Badger.
Which one was Badger?
The large guy with the black hair.
Oh, okay. I think I'm picturing the right person.
Yeah.
So once they're in this very wealthy person's apartment, they just start grabbing anything that looks valuable. And Violet's like, oh, this person must be an inventor. So we're like, because we see like the drawings on like a chalkboard, basically, or like the like equations and stuff on a chalkboard. Math. And we find out that this spot was a tip from a character called Little Man.
Little Man.
And during the reaction, I was literally like, who is that? I did not remember who this was at all. So then I was like, oh, it's then later. I was like, oh, it's Echo. Oh, wait, I should say, this is a good time to say, if you haven't watched the entire series, we will be discussing some spoilers.
Yes.
So just, you've been warned. You have been warned.
So you know, you might hear a little bit of this and that.
We'll try to say if we are going to talk about something that is spoilers, but it's just going to be inevitable. Powder, lucky girl, finds a yummy little sandwich, which is probably like a full-on feast for her.
The sandwich is a whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was like, because they don't get like that good.
No,
food.
They're eating like slop and gruel and.
Yeah,
gross,
for sure.
Like undercity stuff.
But also, that was crazy that there was just a sandwich just sitting out that way. I was like, Jace, what are you
Jace
doing?
Made a sandwich.
What was that about? Yeah, it was crazy.
That's true. Well, that's when you're studying, like when you're making stuff and you're deep in research, you forget to eat.
I guess.
Or you remember to make a sandwich, but you
sure.
forget to eat it, I suppose.
Sure.
Happens to me all the time.
So she finds the sandwich, and then she also discovers a box full of these round electric blue glowing stones.
Yeah.
Stones, gems, I don't know what stone. I'm going to say stones.
Yeah, crystals.
We don't know what they are at this point.
They're blue, they glow.
So suddenly though, the resident appears to be back. They have just come back to their apartment. Everyone is like rushing to leave, and Powder pockets the stones except for one that gets dropped that triggers an explosion, and a wall ends up collapsing. Yeah. Then the city alarm is triggered, and the kids are just like running for their lives. So they race out of Piltover, and they like run across the bridge as if it's being like raised.
The second you see a bridge like that, the two pieces go up.
Yeah.
That kind of bridge. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna go in. Like it's guaranteed. If you can find an example in a movie or a film or a TV show or whatever, where there is a scene where that goes happen. Up and something doesn't end up falling in, I will give you like £50 because I am so sure that the only reason those bridges are ever shown is so something can go in. Yeah. So on that note, if you are in a chase and you see your comrades jump over, life. If no one's fallen in yet and you're about to make the jump, think about what you're about to do because you might regret it. That's all I'm saying.
So the majority of the enforcers make it across, but not all of them.
Not all of them, though.
So the kids end up getting away because they end up sliding down into the sewers, which Milo in particular is not very happy about this, and he's pretty vocal that he is not very happy about this.
I remember because he's like, last time, you said last time. Vi says that this was the last time, but then Milo says last time was the last time. So that means, right, and I said this in the reaction as well. Well, it's just interesting to think about. It's how my brain works. They have to have done it at least 3 times. Because there has to have been a first time, that was the very first time, a last time where Vi said that was the last time, and then this time. So at least 3, probably way more.
So Milo and Claggor, they aren't exactly thrilled with how this has gone down, even though Vi's like, but we got such a good haul. And it's just clear that they think the explosion was from Powder, is like because of something Powder did. Even though Powder's like, I don't know why you're looking at me. I didn't do anything. I don't know. Maybe she genuinely didn't know that there was one that was dropped. Maybe. I don't know. So as they're trying to head back home, there's some goons that like kind of corner them and they're asking them to like share the loot with them. The leader of this little group is called Deckard. Claggor at first is like, we don't want any trouble, but then like right away Vi just like starts like beating the shit out of this guy. Like she like hits him with the bag basically. Like she like whacks him across the face with the bag full of loot. And then it's just like they all just start like beating each other up. And there is this, because it's like a slow motion like fight sequence, and there is this like really clearly intentional shot where like everyone is fighting in slow motion around Powder, who is just like looking like wide-eyed holding the bag.
It's very like the intro scene on the bridge.
Yes. Similar to those vibes. Yeah. That shot was like really impactful for me because I just was like, it's just from like as long as she can remember, she's just been like surrounded by violence basically. So they basically like kick their butts. Vi and the boys like kick their butts. Powder like runs off with the bag and one of the goons is like following her. But basically how the like fight with the bigger kids ends, Deckard ends up pulling a knife on them just as the 3 are about to walk away. But when Vi approaches him again, then he just ends up like running off. So
I'll wait till the end. Oh, because we don't know yet who's sent Deckard.
Oh
and why?
Yeah, at this point.
But I think there's some stuff you could talk about here with why he's there. What if he thinks they're gonna? Because he. We'll talk about it then.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know yet. We don't know why is that.
Yeah. So Powder runs down to the docks and this one goon is still pursuing her. She tries to throw one of her homemade bombs, which she calls Mouser, at him to get like, like to protect herself.
Little grenades.
But it sadly doesn't work. She's forced to throw the bag of loot into the river so she can run off.
Yeah.
So when we catch back up with the 3, Powder, Milo, Claggor, and Vi, Powder is confessing to have dropped the bag into the river, which once again, Milo is not happy about.
I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
and Vi is like, well, at least you're okay. Like, it's
he did have to go through the sewers again, despite Vi explicitly promising
you're
it
talking
was
about
the
Milo.
last time. Yeah.
I was talking about Powder dropping the bag to survive.
That sucks too.
Yeah.
And no one had a good time. No.
Yeah, no one enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But because Milo isn't happy about this, we also learn that something always seems to go wrong whenever they take Powder on a job with them. And while Claggor doesn't like say anything, it's clear that he is kind of like frustrated as well, just from his body language. So we just get the idea, the vibe that like they're
Milo
both
says specifically, right? You jinx every job you're on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that where he says it? Yeah. I didn't remember exactly where it was said.
So he came up with the name.
Basically, they're continuing the walk home. They're walking through the Undercity, aka Zon, and back to the Last Drop.
Mm-hmm. Cool name.
The main thing to note when they're like walking through is like we see them pass by a brothel, and there's a madam that like will come back into play in the story a couple episodes down the way. But
she gives Claggor the eye.
Yeah,
it's
girl, what are we
specifically
doing?
him
Why?
as well. Like,
why was she doing that?
Well, I don't know how old she is because she's like a different species.
Yeah. But I think
older than
safe
him
to say she's
at
too
least
old for him.
3 times older than him.
Yeah, too old for him for sure. So once we're in the last drop, which is like a bar.
Yeah, it's
like
a pub.
just like a pub.
Bar,
yes,
pub.
yeah. Once we're in the last drop, we're introduced to Vander, which I only caught it this third time around watching, that they refer to him as Hound of the Underground. I did not hear that the first or second time I watched this episode. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, well, there we go.
Cool name.
So remember that. Remember that for later. Totally missed that the first and second time. So he's standing up to some traders who are basically trying to rip off this character named Huck.
Yeah.
He ends up like letting the purple haired woman like try a hit of his pipe, and she's like, oh, this is horrible. And then he basically just says like, welcome to the lanes. So Vander also notices the kids come back in, and like immediately he can tell like something's off. Like they're trying to act like nothing's happened, but he's already like on to what has gone on this day.
They're beaten to high hell. Like they got black eyes.
Yeah, that too. They look like raggedy. Yeah.
You would tell. You'd be able to tell.
So the boys are still giving Powder a hard time. She's like, you don't get it. Like, you're older and you're bigger. It's easier for you. Vander comes in and just like gets right to it. Basically. He's like, oh, I heard there were like 4 kids that were running from this explosion that happened in Piltover. And then it ends up coming out that they heard this tip from Little Man. There's like a little bit of a back and forth between Vander and Vi, where it's clear Vi's like, they've got plenty up there. Like, we're the ones that are suffering down here. And then the exchange ends with Vi saying to Vander, when did you get so comfortable living in someone else's shadow? And there's like this moment of silence where like all the other kids are like, oh no. And then Vander's like, everyone get out. And then he talks to Vi one-on-one. And he basically is just like, these kids look up to you. You don't get to just like do whatever you want, because you're obviously then responsible for these kids, because they're like just tagging along with you wherever you're going. And he does make the point that he's like, because it's on you, you know, he said, what did he say exactly? He was like, it's on, if you take them somewhere, it's on you. Just like it's on me what happens to everyone down here. So like he's kind of like showing her, you know, like, I'm responsible for everyone down here. You have to be responsible for these kids if you guys are going to be like going out and about and stuff. And then he also reminds her that fighting just makes more problems in the end. So like, again, he's just really learned his lesson, unfortunately. Yeah. Like he's lived the lesson of, he's literally experienced
he's been where
everyone around him dying,
begrudgingly become the leader of some people, and how badly things can go wrong. Yeah,
exactly. So he also asked like where the stuff ended up. He's like, so where's the loot? And she's like, we lost it. And he's like, that's good. Then they can't actually tie any of it to you. So you know what? That's fine. And then they have like a nice little exchange where he's like, because she's beat up, he was like, and what's this about? Like, how did this happen? She's like, oh, just someone like tried to follow us, you know,
goons,
like some goons in the Undercity.
Booty.
Yeah. So then he's like, you did like kick that guy's ass though, right? And Vi's like, so that was cute.
She did.
So Vander ends up going down to Benzo's, where we meet Benzo and Echo, aka Little Man.
Echo, Little Man.
Is Little Echo
best.
And Little Powder are tied for the cutest. Like, they're just so cute. I love Little Echo. They have an exchange where they discuss like what happened that day with the kids, and then like Vander's worried about the kids because they were followed by these goons, and he's like, we both know there's worse things than enforcers out here. And there's like this very intentional shot of his forearm, which I remember the first time I was like, okay, because I just understand enough about a very intentional shot like that through like filmmaking that I'm like, okay, we need to remember that.
Something about his forearm.
I remember from the beginning
his
being
forearm
like,
is worse
with
than
his forearm?
Forces. No, that can't be it.
So I was like, yeah, I need to remember that. I remember being like, remember that for next time. And then, there's like this quick chat with Echo and Clagger out in front of the shop, which was so cute. And he's like,
showing off his combos.
That Vi taught him. He's like, oh yeah, Vi taught me some moves, blah, blah, blah.
Punch, kick, wow.
And then we find out that Echo knew where this inventor, who we obviously later find out is Jace, but he followed him back after he came and sold a bunch of stuff to Benzo because he like didn't try to, what is it?
Yeah,
barter.
He bought a bunch
of
stuff from Benzo and got
with
scammed.
him or anything.
Like,
he just like...
I'm just imagining it. Like, it's so funny. Jace, Echo being like, oh yeah, this is, you know, 100 gold? What do they use? What do they use in Piltover? I don't know.
Coins.
Those coins. 100 gold. And Jace is like, oh really?
Okay.
Oh, here you go. Because it's not his money. Caitlin's family's money. So
also,
he's just like...
He's just so much better off than anyone in the Undercity, even though he isn't like a super influential, or it doesn't come from a super influential family.
Which also isn't his though, actually. I'm realizing now. It's Caitlin's family.
No, but even his where his mom lives, that is still, nice, they're much better off than anyone.
His family built hammers. Pretty cool.
So he like... he apparently followed... Jace back, found where he lived, and then like basically told them, because Jace just made it very clear that he was like a very wealthy person. So he just kind of got targeted pretty easily, unfortunately.
See, if he had just been a little more, you know,
if he had just
subtle,
haggled a little bit. Yeah, he was like, he didn't even try to haggle.
Maybe none of this would ever have happened, huh?
So then as Echo and Clagger are having this little chat, then the enforcers show up at Benzo's. And it is revealed that there is an alliance between Vander and the senior peacekeeper. Peacekeeper? Senior enforcer. See, I kept writing peacekeeper.
Grayson.
The senior enforcer named Grayson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Grayson's legit.
I think she's great. I think there's clearly so much mutual respect.
Yes, and she really is trying to work.
They're very pragmatic. They're just like, okay, how can we do this with the least amount of people getting hurt?
Yes, exactly.
Realistically, let's just get it. I don't want to go home. Yeah, I want to go home.
So this, unfortunately, is that this like break-in that has happened is quite a big problem, because apparently this workshop belonged to the Kieramans, who again, we don't know who that is yet, but apparently they're a very influential family. So the council wants to make an example of whoever did this. They're like, we gotta find who did this.
Get him.
Yeah.
Get him.
So Grayson's trying to get a name out of Vander, but he's just like, I can't give it to you. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to leave this. Like we had such a discussion. I was like, what is that? Like a scroll like a mailer to, it's like when you
cylinder
in Midwestern America, where I grew up, like you would put your like bank, when you'd go to the bank, you would like put one of those in a tube with like your checkbook when you'd want to like take out money or something. Yeah. Like that's what you do. Yeah. So I was like, that's what it is to me. And she's like, you can send me a message. You can reach me by like sending this. Which I was like, that's cool that they're using that as like a communication method. I thought that was in this little steampunk world, you know. So then we're back with the kids. Powder's making a new bomb named Whisker, which I was like, cute. So cute. And then Vi's like, do you want to talk about today? And I was like, Vi is me as a big sister. I'd be like, do you want to talk about what happened today? Should we talk about it? My little sister can confirm. And she's like, what is there to say? Like, it's just so clear. She's like really like feeling pretty down on herself. And there is this moment where she says that she's not a fighter, which you and I had this conversation when we were watching the reaction, because I was like, it's so clear that she didn't want to go down that path. Like, I feel like from the beginning, you kind of see that Vi has this like fight in her, that she is more like of that vibe, just naturally, you know, authentically has that type of energy. But Powder does not, even now, you know, like now she's at the age that Vi was. Yeah.
She wants to make stuff.
And then when she says that she's not a fighter, Vi is like, you don't need to be, like, you have these, you know, like you're creating these. And Powder, once again, very down on herself, is just like, but they never work. So then Vi's like, come with me, let's go. We're going to go outside. So she ends up taking Powder outside, and she's like pointing out these like various spots where like her and the boys had what she says are like bad days. Like, we've all had bad days. We learned from it, you know, like,
all had things go wrong on jobs.
Yes. Just like there was like, what was it? Clagger. She said like, we didn't find him until like
Clagger,
the morning.
Like, was in like, fell off a bridge or something.
Something like that. Like caught.
Milo fell
on his ass. Yeah.
in the paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like Vi's story honestly was the one that made me the saddest because she like points to this stuffed rabbit that is like stuck between these two pipes that are kind of like above the Undercity. And she's like, someone like threw that up there, like threw my favorite toy up there. And like, I like for years, like wished, you know, that like a breeze would come and knock it down or something. And I said, like, I was like, this is such a clear metaphor for how Vi's childhood was just like taken away from her at way too young an age. Like it was such a perfect physical representation of that. And especially because for however many years, she's just been looking at that bunny, like hanging up there. So she's like telling Powder about this. Powder ends up like showing Vi those like blue stones because she realized that she like had them in her pocket. Oh, wait, is this? Wait, hold on a second. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm so sorry. I missed something. So there is, before we go to Benzo's, there's that scene where Powder, this is why I was like, wait, I didn't mention that she discovered the blue stone. Sorry, let me go back a bit. Powder, like when she realized that she did have those blue stones in her pocket, she like, I think she's going to tell Vi maybe, but she ends up overhearing Milo, who is like talking about how like Vi could do all these things when she was Powder's age and like Powder can't do them. And Vi is defending Powder, but there's this moment where like she like, what is it? When she's like sarcastically agrees with Milo, but then Jinx only hears her say like, you know what, you're right. Like there's a lot of things that she can't do. And then Powder leaves. She's doing a bit.
Like, yeah, you're right. There's lots of things she can't do. Yeah. Like be a bad person like you can. Or like
never shut up.
Stuff which you can. Like, oh yeah, all of that. That's it. Yeah.
So if she had like stayed, she would have heard that Vi said that, but she left too early. I know. Yeah. So I did want to mention that just because she misunderstood the exchange. So it wasn't like the whole story. Anyway, okay, back to when they're up on the roof talking about the stuffed bunny. So Powder brings out these like blue stones, shows them to Vi, and she's like, should we show Vander? And Vi's like, oh no, we're going to keep this our little secret. And then she's like,
sisters.
Yeah, sisters.
Keeping plutonium things basically secret.
And then they don't like know. There's a moment where she's like, what are they? And Vi's like, I don't know. They don't know what they are.
Blue, they glow.
Yeah, so it's clearly something probably expensive is what they're like thinking, I think. And then Violet's like, Milo's wrong. You're stronger than you think. And one day the city is going to respect us. And then it like transitions.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
One day the city. Oh, wow.
One day. And then we transition and we are introduced to our big baddie.
The baddies.
Yeah, we're getting into it. So we see Deckard being held by some bigger goons, not his goons, more threatening goons.
The one level of goonery above Deckard. He's like a base goon.
Yeah, and then like the real scary villain. Apparently Deckard was not meant to interfere. He was just supposed to like follow them. And so Deckard confesses that like the kid to this big baddie, unnamed big baddie, we don't know his name at this point. He confesses to him that the kids were the ones that caused this explosion in Piltover. And then the baddie is like all excited about this because he's like, oh, so Vander is in trouble. Oh, interesting.
Get this boy a meal.
Yeah. He's like, feed this guy. Keep him off the street.
Get him a meal.
So then it's revealed that whoever our big baddie is has like this like glowing orange eye.
He's got like a Sauron eye.
Yes, Yes, he has the eye of Sauron.
He like has to inject it with this like
the less we have to talk about that, the better. I hate every time they have to do that.
It's pretty gnarly.
It's
pretty
brutal.
Full on.
But yeah, and he's like, we don't really get like I think they purposefully are kind of keeping him in like half shadow for a lot of this,
you see his eye, you see his face. He's a little bit scarred.
Yeah. We get like kind of like a partial
he has
reveal.
Like pretty cool haircut.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
like
great character design.
What's his name? Kaz Brecker?
He is Kaz Brecker
Kaz Brecker style haircut.
Bone. Yeah, he's literally like if Kaz Brecker went fully bad, he would be Silco. So then the big baddie is like conversing with someone we think is like a scientist, maybe like a not ethical doctor. We don't
like
really
an
know.
evil sign, like a mad scientist.
Yeah,
Not
scientist.
Mad, but like an evil doctor
No, we could
scientist.
say like
vibe.
a mad scientist. He has that vibe.
Yeah, he doesn't do like an evil laugh, but he's like
questionable,
unethical scientist.
Clearly, there's
type.
some bad vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like talking about this like purple concoction that he is holding. So I don't really want to go into this because I don't like talking about anything that has to do with like an animal getting hurt. So I'm just going to say that there is like an exchange where there's like a rat and a cat.
Yeah.
Basically the rat drinks the purple concoction and then basically has no problem eliminating the cat. I was very happy that they didn't show it, which is what I said in the reaction.
Just the classic
yes. And I was like, thank you, because I didn't need
That's all we need. Now we know what's happened.
What happened to the cat. I didn't need to see it.
And we don't have to like see the image.
Yes.
Actually.
So, but to be fair, that rat was probably going to get eaten by the cat.
That's what I was going to say. I said I was going to say something about that.
Oh,
okay. I think, cat is a predator, rat is prey.
Yeah.
But it's flipped because
of
the purple drank, the purple ooze.
The purple drank.
Yeah, it's flipped. So, and Silco's plan with the purple drink is to flip and have Piltover and have Zorn / the Undercity become more powerful.
The predator.
So the cat is Piltover.
Yeah,
the rat is the Undercity.
A physical representation.
Exactly. Of how they're going to use the purple to turn the tables. I had that thought and I was like...
That was what you were like, I'm going to wait to say this.
I had a light bulb moment and I was like, I don't know if
that's really good. You're right.
Meant,
You're so right.
Right?
Yeah. No, I didn't think about that when we were watching it because I just was upset about the cat. But you're right. That's totally what that is. 100%.
Rat, but it's,
So I was happy with how they represented it, that they didn't actually show it. I was grateful for that. And so then the evil scientist is like, "Oh, do you have someone in mind, my big baddie?" And the baddie is like, "Someone just volunteered.
This boy just volunteered.
Yeah, we just met him. He's
got a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
Get him a meal.
So Deckard,
give him some purple drink with his meal.
Yeah, I don't think your luck is really going to change for the better.
I mean,
Deckard,
I don't like Deckard.
No.
I reckon he's the one that threw the bunny onto the
maybe
things.
It was him.
We don't know that. Yeah, that's my theory.
No,
but he's...
Yeah.
He's
not a great guy either, but...
No.
But yeah, that's it. That's episode 1.
Credits roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Welcome to the playground. We are here. We are on the playground. So thank you for joining us for episode 1. You can catch our reaction to episode 1 along with the other reactions to come on our Patreon, which I will include a link to below. Really, that's all for right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, tell us things that we missed. Any other thoughts that you had about the episode in the comments.
Is my cat rat theory wrong?
No.
Do you disagree?
That's definitely spot on.
I mean, yeah, but with stuff like that, like,
on.
this is a metaphor for this and this is this, then
I think that is pretty clear,
still.
though.
Yeah, I mean, but someone might disagree.
Yeah, you never know. Wait, we should do what was I keep trying to remember what we were
Lovers of Law.
No. It was like
Lovers of Law.
See you next time.
I think that's pretty cool.
Lord.
Right?
See you next.
Lovers. Wait, is that right? Because I have to do it backwards, right?
No.
An L.
Well, we are going to do that later. We'll do that later. Just right now, we'll just
Lovers
say.
of Law. I think it's pretty good. I just came up with that, right?
Just on the spot.
Lovers. No. Yeah, it'd be lovers. Oh,
that was. I'm talking about what you said because we were gonna do we originally talked about the outro being, what was it? It was something like, we'll see you next time.
See you next time, Law Lovers.
Yeah, that was what it was. That was
Law Lovers.
We'll see you next time, Lore Lovers.
Oh no, because it's like, did you just do the same thing? Well, okay, you did it. I was just doing it with my head because I have a round head.
Lore Lovers.
Your head's more like a 0, so it doesn't work as well. Like a 0 shape, and mine's like an O. But we could do it with the mouth there.
Oh my God.
Lovers of Law.
Okay, we need to sign off. Okay, Thank you for joining us for episode 1.
See you next time, Lore Lovers.
See you next time, Lore Lovers.